We begin on page 2, the 4th song down. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov umanayim, hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov umanayim. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, let's make it around. Choose your part. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov umanayim, hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad, hine ma tov umanayim. Just wondering how you are all doing. I am feeling, I don't know if this is correct, just give me a nod if it feels this way, just a collective need to exhale and breathe a little bit in the tension of this time. And so tonight's Shabbat service is designed just for that, really just to let ourselves fill our cups, to prepare for what is going to come, and just to breathe and sing and pray and learn and feel together. And so tonight we have 2 sets of candlesticks out, thinking that we just need as much light as we can possibly get. And so we are going to ask Rachel Ratchin to light 1 set of Shabbat candles, and you can come right up, Rachel. And Rachel has been joining us diligently online for many months now due to an ankle injury, and is finally able to enter into the sanctuary, which is so lovely, and we're so glad to have you here, Rachel. Woo! And Ellie, we're so glad you're back here tonight. We'd love for you to light another set of these Shabbat candles, and we turn to page 1 for the blessing. Those of us who can remember Ellie coming to services for many, many years, she was not always towering over Rabbi Cari and me, but now she is, I know.
Wait, this is with my dance go clogs on. This is really bad.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlek ner lehadlek ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
So in imagining what we could offer tonight in this trying time, we look to the Jewish calendar, and lo and behold, It is Rosh Chodesh, the new moon. You may have noticed it is a very dark night out there. It's just a sliver, tiny sliver of a moon. So it is Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. And we thought we would enter this cycle. There's so many cycles and circles and timelines in Judaism that we can enter into this newness together, this new moon, this new month of possibility, and especially in this month where there are no Jewish holidays. Yes.
Sorry.
And so we offer these Rosh Chodesh prayers as we enter into this new month. Dear God, God of our mothers and fathers, renew us this month and this year. Direct us toward goodness and blessing, toward the joyful, toward liberation and challenge, as well as toward patience and consolation, toward becoming ever more human beings. Let us become capable of supporting ourselves, our families, and friends. Let us serve our community in dignity. Direct us toward life and peace, toward observing our blindness, toward struggling with our goals, toward forgiving ourselves and each other. You brought us near with an intention. You gave us the awareness of the cycles of the moon. May we use this gift as an opportunity to understand what you intend for us. Thank you for inviting us to share your holiness and this holy moment of the new moon. Tonight, we celebrate Cheshvan. This month is often referred to as Mar Cheshvan, bitter Cheshvan, because it contains no holidays or festivals, and because it often coincides with the arrival of colder weather. Mar can also mean a drop of water. According to a midrash, more rain falls in watery Cheshvan because it marks the beginning of the great flood during the time of Noah. We can also think of Cheshvan as a quiet time to reap the benefits of the spiritual growth of the preceding month of Tishrei. May our hearts be lifted and our spirits refreshed as we welcome Cheshvan. May the month of Cheshvan be a month of blessings, blessings of goodness, blessings of joy, peace and kindness, friendship and love, creativity, strength, serenity, fulfilling work and dignity, satisfaction, success and sustenance, physical health and radiance. May truth and justice guide our acts and compassion temper our lives, that we may blossom as we age and become our sweetest selves. May it be so. And a psalm to our souls, at the top of page 3, Yedid Nefesh, love song. Yedid Nefesh av harachaman, Yedid Nefesh av harachaman, Meshoch avdach el ritzonach, Meshoch avdach ya la 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 el ritzonach yarutz avdach kemo ayah nefesh av harachaman di nefesh av harachaman mishoch avdach el ritzonach mishoch avdach ya la 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 el ritzonach.
Turn to page 5. Shiru Ladonai. Sing a new song. This day calls for a new song.
Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Hadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basaru miyom liyom Yeshu'ato, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Hadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basaru miyom liyom Yeshu'ato, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Hadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basaru miyom liyom Yeshu'ato, Basaru miyom liyom Yeshu'ato.
We turn to page 11 to dance Shabbat into our community as our dancing cardinal greets us each week. We'll sing stanzas 1, 2, 5, and 9 of Lecha Dodi. When we reach stanza 9, I'll gesture with my hands. It's an invitation to rise in body and spirit, to turn to the back of our sanctuary. If there are guests who are visible, we'll welcome them and we'll greet Shabbat into our midst as well.
Lechan Dodi Likra Kalai Alalai Alalai Allah Pene Shabbat Nekavela Ya Elai Elai Lechan Dodi Likra Kalai Alalai Alalai Allah Pene Shabbat Nekavela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishme'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemo l'tiferet v'litilah Lecha Dodi Likra Kalai Alalai Alalai Allah Pene Shabbat Nekavela Ya Elai Elai Lecha Dodi Likra Kalai Alalai Alalai Allah Pene Shabbat Nekavela Oh Likra Shabbat lechu v'nelecha ki hi mikor ha'baracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh v'maksav achila lecha dodi likra kala yala yala pene Shabbat nekavela yala lecha dodi likra kala yala pene Shabbat nekavela oh hitoreri kiva ore kumi ori shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nigla lechandodi likra kala yala pene Shabbat nekabela yala lechandodi likra kala yala pene Shabbat nekabela oh boi v'shalom ateret balam gam besimcha u'betzala toch emuneh am segula boi kala lechandodi likra kala yala pene Shabbat nekavela yala lechandodi likra kala yala pene Shabbat nekavela.
Remaining standing, we turn to page 15.
And please join in with me. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divarach hirutei ve'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon ובחיי דכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. Page 16, the far right column in the bold, connecting with that light, that soul, coming home to ourselves, coming home to each other. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Baruch Hu, dear one, I am home. Thinking this is a time when we could all, and it's true all the time, but especially now, to remind ourselves that we are loved, loved, loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Continue with a Ve'ahavta interpretation by Marge Piercy. Let us read these words together. So you shall love what is holy with all your courage, with all your passion, with all your strength. Let the words that have come down shine in our words and our actions. We must teach our children to know and understand them. We must speak about what is good and holy within our homes. When we are working, when we are at play, when we lie down, and when we get up. Let the work of our hands speak of goodness. Let it run in our blood and glow from our doors and windows. We should love ourselves. We should love our neighbors as ourselves. We should love the stranger, for we were once strangers in the land of Egypt, and have been strangers in all the lands of the world since. Let love fill our hearts with its clear, precious water. Heaven and earth observe how we cherish or spoil our world. Heaven and earth watch whether we choose life or choose death. We must choose life so our children's children may live. Be quiet and listen to the still small voice that speaks in love. Open to that voice, hear it, heed it, and work for life. Let us remember and strive to be good. Let us remember to find what is holy within and without.
Page 21 at the bottom of the page. Our song of redemption, our song of the sea, of crossing from the narrow place. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, oseh fele, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, oseh fele, oseh fele. Turn to page 22 for Hashkivenu. And for many years now, I don't even know how to count them, Annie, how many years, we have the Shabbat before any election, we have made sure to include Hashkivenu, this prayer for peace, the final blessing of the Shema. It's connected to the Shema. And Annie reminded me tonight of why she likes it so much in this time, because it speaks of going to bed in peace and rising tomorrow in peace and in safety. And she said, if I could quote, tell me if I'm quoting you correctly, Annie, that's what we need. It's for the next day after the election. It's the day after the election to be surrounded by peace and safety. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'ha'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'ha'amidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu lechaim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'ha'amidenu malkeinu chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Offer an Amidah reading, again by Marge Piercy. This is just a small excerpt from a longer piece. And it drew our eyes this week because of this first line. We rise to speak, a web of bodies aligned like notes of music. And I just imagine us here tonight with countless congregations, synagogues, rising in prayer for the Amidah, and then connecting ourselves to all of the other communities that are praying and praying and praying, and all these alignments happening like notes of music. Bless what brought us through the sea and the fire. We are caught in history like whales in polar ice. Yet we have learned to push against the walls, to reach out and pull each other along, to strive to find the way through if there is no other way around, to go on, to utter ourselves with every breath against the constriction of fear, to know ourselves as the body born from Abraham and Sarah, born out of rock and desert. We reach back through 200 arches of hips, long dust, carrying their memories inside us, to live again in our life. Isaac and Rebecca, Rachel, Jacob, Leah. We say words shaped by ancient use, like steps worn into rock. All living are one and holy. Let us remember as we eat, as we work, as we walk and drive. All living are one and holy. We must make ourselves worthy. We must act out justice and mercy and healing as the sun rises and as the sun sets, as the moon rises and the stars wheel above us. We must repair goodness and praise the power of the oneness that joins us. Whether we plunge or thrust ourselves far out, finally we reach the face of glory too bright for our eyes, and yet we burn and we give light. We will strive to be holy. We will strive to repair the world given to us to hand on. Precious is this treasure of words and knowledge and deeds that move inside us. Holy is the hand that works for peace and for justice. Holy is the mouth that speaks for goodness. Holy is the foot that walks toward mercy. Let us lift each other on our shoulders and carry each other along. Let holiness move in us. Let us pay attention to its small voice. Let us see the light in others and honor that light. Remember the dead who paid our way here dearly, dearly, and remember the unborn for whom we build our houses. Praise the light that shines before us, through us, after us. Amen. And so we will chant tonight those first 6 words from the Psalms, and then enter into a silent Amidah, space for our own prayers, our own hopes, our own wishes, our own need for reflection and connection. So we rise in body or in spirit. Adonai sefatai tivtach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tivtach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
a full year has passed. Whether you count from the English date or the celebration of Simchat Torah, this is the first time that we are gathering together at Shabbat on a Friday evening at our 7:30 service, looking at this number, greater than a year, 391 days, knowing that the number of lives that have been lost since that tragic day continues to grow, and that the only response can be to continue to let our hearts break, to refuse to be hardened or ignore, to know that when we're in community, safe community, sacred community, we can hold each other in this painful awareness of the over 100 people who have been held hostage for 391 days, of all who have been lost to this tragedy. And so we'll offer these words, a prayer for freedom, together in community, knowing that almost anyone living there could be described as in search and need of that freedom. Please join with me. Our family, the whole house of Israel, who are in distress or in captivity, who stand either in the sea or on dry land, may the Omnipresent have mercy on them and take them out from trouble to blessing, and from darkness to light, and from oppression to redemption, now, swiftly, and soon. Amen.
Turn to page 130, the left-hand side of the page. Our Misha Berach, prayer for healing of body and soul and mind and mood. As a community, we are praying for the healing of Deb Schwartz, continued prayers for Rachel Ratchin and her ankle, for Phyllis Fald, Judy Itzkovitz, Karen Seiler, for Pat Finder, who is doing well following a knee replacement. Continued prayers for Emily Sharon, for Liz Walheim, Athena Morris, Marnie Kaplan, Nate Sugarman, Dave Carbonneau, Ken Doucette, Sarah Kianowski, Deb Gilman, Neil Daniels-Midman, Ed Snow, Tom Lemons, Diana Sanders, Liliana Walheim-Martinez, for Frank, Andy, Joyce, and Bert, for Gordon Bishop, Marcia M., Laura Bell, Jenny Vanderpool, Annie Graham and her family, Anya Kabel, Sue Boardman, Ayelet Gal Bat Chava Shmuel, and Stanley Roth. And we welcome you to add any names of loved ones here in the sanctuary, or if you're online, to do so in the chat. And if you raise your hand, we'd be honored to call on you, Melissa. Of these names that have been spoken and all who live in our hearts, we join our voices together in this ancient prayer. Mi sheberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah uYevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Elna Rifana, Elna Rifana la, Elna Rifana, Elna Rifana, Mi sheberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah uYevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. I'm sorry, this got so emotional. I just need a moment thinking about these words and how many times we have sung them together and how very, very true they feel right now. Night cannot drive out the night, only light, only light. Night cannot drive out the night, only light, only light. Oh, 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 War cannot end all these wars. Only peace, only peace. War cannot end all these wars. Only peace, only peace. Oh, 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 Hate cannot end all this hate. Only love, only love. Hate cannot end all this hate. Only love, only love. Oh, 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 Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen, amen. Ve'imru, amen, amen.
think I can sing you every verse of "And God said to Noah" that there is. Do you all know that song? And God said to Noah, there's gonna be a floody, right? And that's, I have to admit, my first association each week when I get to, each year, I don't read it weekly, each year when I get to this Parsha is all those verses. And so I always have to sort of jump the hurdle into this portion because at its face value, and if you get too involved with the verses of the song, it can feel a little silly, right? There's a boat and there's all these animals and a lot of water and, you know, I mean, I guess that's true for a fair amount of the Bible, but particularly for some reason with Noah, it really just jumps out at me most years that it just seems a world away. It just seems like a different world where that story would have been written. But of course, each year, and this is the beauty of these ancient texts, when I actually take the time to engage with it as opposed to just read it from my point of view, or worse yet, skim it from my point of view, admittedly. There's more there. And there were so many metaphors this week that jumped out at me between Parshat Noah and our lives right now. There is, of course, the gathering storm and all of the texts that have to do with what it would mean to have that kind of knowledge ahead of time of what's to come, and also those who don't have the knowledge ahead of time. There was the ark and what it means to need something to carry you through. And if that's a metaphor that's jumping out to you this year, come to Torah on Tap tomorrow, because that is what we'll be studying in our afternoon session. But this year it was the Tzohar that jumped out to me as an opportunity for us to consider the wisdom of this ancient tradition. And the Tzohar is a term that is used only once. There's a fancy, I think it's Latin term for what that is, but I can never pronounce it right. So if you want to come read it after, it is on my screen and I can show it to you. But the term, it only exists here. It's the only time it's used. And I don't know if you know, but traditionally, when you're going to define something in the Bible, what you do is you go to all of the spots that term is used, and you see what you can learn from each context, and then you build a picture of that word and its meaning. Of course, if it's only used once, that system fails. Which means, of course, that the word means whatever I say it means, or whatever you say it means, or really what we say collectively it needs to mean. And so the Tzohar is a term I'd like to define with you today in our community, because I think we probably could learn something from it and could use one. So, Dan, thanks. Whoa, there's teeny tiny. Okay, can you all see that? No, me neither. Okay. I bet when I first started working here as your rabbi, I could have seen it. So this is chapter 6, verse 16. And the Tzohar is that first word of that sentence that you're looking at, okay? So Tzohar ta'aseh l'teva, Tzohar you should make on the teva, on the ark, okay? Which of course, how are you going to translate that, right? And one option comes to us from Onkelos, and it says, a precious stone to give light will you provide for the ark. From the top of 2 feet above you will fasten it, and the door of the ark shall be set in its side, that's the ark side, and the lower and the second and the third stories must you make, or you may make it. So a tzohar in this first translation is a precious stone, and what does it do? Gives light, right? How are you envisioning that? Anybody got a picture in their mind of what that looks like? I mean, we don't have many precious stones that just emit light these days. I feel like the Marvel universe is probably our best system for this. But, oh, nice. Say that again. Quartz. Quartz, right? Something that's able to reflect what's happening up there. Lovely. Any other ideas? The high holiday salt lamp Ner Tamid. That's a nice one. Yep. Other ideas? Yeah. Prism. A prism. So it's creating rainbows coming from it. Beautiful. I love that. These are all gorgeous images. I have to admit, what I came up with was not nearly as pretty as what you all came up with. I pictured that, right? Just a very simple item hanging, well, it's a little more than 2 feet, but 2 feet-ish from the ceiling that's casting light on all that is going on underneath it, right? Okay, let's read that sentence again, but with a different translation and see what you think. So this also says, same 3 words, Tzohar ta'aseh leteva, a tzohar you can make, or you must make in the ark, proving yet again, like I said, that every translation you come up with will work here. And let's see what this one is. Anybody can read this now? Yeah? Much bigger? Make an opening for daylight in the ark and terminate it within a cubit of the top. Put the entrance to the ark on its side, make it with bottom, second, and third decks. So what's a tzohar in this situation? Say it again. It's a skylight, right? Anybody got a house with a skylight? Anybody got a skylight in there, a moonroof in their car, right? It's a moonroof, right? So how does this differ from the other tzohar? What is the key distinction, or what are the key distinctions between a tzohar, which is a gem emitting a light, and a skylight or a moonroof? Annie.
So there's a difference between emitting light and letting light in.
Say more. I will repeat and then I will ask for more. There's a difference between emitting light and letting light in. Will you say more?
Yeah, so.
Hold on.
Oh, you're not going to make me do that, are you?
I
Because I know, as I told Beth. So think of it as your choice is either that the light is coming from inside the ark or from this object on top of the ark, or you're letting light into the ark. So either we're sending light out into the worlds, or we're letting the world's light into us. That's all I got.
I like it. Any questions about that? Any thoughts? Responses? Any other differences you see in the tzohar? What's the difference between letting light? Oh, Aaron, I'm sorry. You had your hand up. Oh, wait. Lean forward. Okay.
Well, the stone looks like something that's going to be emitting light continuously. But if you've got a window to the sky, then it's going to fluctuate.
So the permanence of the light, right? I pictured this when I pictured that stone. We don't turn this off, right? And that was the idea of that metaphor, was it's always there. But if you're in a 40-day storm with a window, it might not be so bright for a lot of the time. Yeah, so how permanent it is, whether it fluctuates, other things that differ between them. I'm coming.
There's a difference between an opening and a stone. The opening would allow not just light in, but it would also allow air in and air out, and that the stone is not opening that much.
Good. So how many functions can be served, right? Whether it's letting air in or letting something else into that ark, or whether it's just lighting, right? That's all it's doing. Other thoughts? Good. I wish I had not maybe tucked this wire in all the way.
The opening for the daylight is daytime operative, where the light is not important in the daytime, but it is important at night.
Oh, even better. So not only is one cyclical and one's not cyclical, but they actually are necessary to you at different times, right? What brings that light is going to come at different times of day or be necessary at different times of day. Yeah, other thoughts about this sohar? How many of you would want a sohar that's a stone that emits light? Yeah, you like a shiny stone? I like a shiny stone. Yeah. How many of you would want a window or a skylight or a moonroof? How many of you would want both? I didn't let you know that was an option first. Well, I think all of these are important aspects of the sohar. But the one that stood out to me in this time that we are in these days before an election, in a time that seems uncertain at best, I thought about the opening and how it lets daylight in, and how the precious stone, of course, emits that light. And Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory taught that sometimes we are lucky enough to be surrounded by light, and we just need to open ourselves to it. And sometimes, he taught, it's dark, and we need to bring our own light into this world. And sometimes, I'm going to add with you all here this evening, it's both, because we really need both right now. Sometimes we need to see and name and lift up even the tiniest glimmers, the thinnest moons, the light that exists in the darkness, so that we don't get swamped by it. And sometimes, at the same time that we are looking for that external source, we need to find ways to keep our own internal lights shining. And I'm wondering if in these next days, you can find some time for yourself to do both. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be the will of our universe that our lights shine and that we take in all the radiance around us. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. And if you want to do that same activity with the ark tomorrow, with the come to Torah on tap. We turn to page 44. Yes. As we prepare for these words of memory, words where we often say the names of those whose lives have shaped our own out loud, we turn to Annie in this particular Shir Tikvah tradition of turning this space into a living room, a den, a place of memory and of family where our stories can be shared.
So my stepbrother, Denny Drake, died recently. And during my last visit with Denny, we asked each other a question. He asked me what I thought about the situation in the Middle East, and I asked him if he had voted absentee yet. In case you're wondering, he had already voted. This may not sound like I love you and goodbye to most people, but for us, I think it was. There's a couple of things that will give you a feeling for who Denny was. The first thing to know is that he attended college at the University of Wisconsin-Madison from 1969 until he dropped out at the end of his junior year. That means he was in Madison during the student strike, the Dow Chemical riots, and the bombing of the Army Math Center. For those of you who may be here from Wisconsin, Peggy's nodding her head, you know what that means. Needless to say, Denny wasn't adamantly opposed to the war in Vietnam, but he also had a vision of a better world based on labor rights and community empowerment. He dropped out of college to become a mechanic, take a factory job, join a union, and try to organize workers to usher in the revolution. This did not work out as planned, but I don't think he ever stopped believing in the possibility of a world where the labor of working people was honored and ordinary people had power over their own future. Denny was the best dad and granddad. He adored his daughter Tony Lee and his son Nick, and doted on Tony's kids Evelyn and Max. His marriage did not last, but he was one of the first people I know who figured out how to co-parent with his ex. This included joint custody of the kids and living near one another so Nick and Tony could easily go between the two houses. His former wife was a nurse. Denny used to show up at her house to make breakfast and lunch for the kids and get them to school so that she could get to the hospital on time. His grown children and their families had dinner at his house every Sunday, a meal that included Denny's excellent cooking, a ritual search for the cookie jar on the part of the grandkids, and enough leftovers to send home with everyone. When my oldest daughter, Jenny, was in school at the university, she was also invited to Sunday dinner and went when she could. It was much easier to have a kid in school 1,000 miles away when you knew Denny was occasionally feeding her. Denny was a quiet, private guy. He was diagnosed with aggressive, inoperable prostate cancer 2 years ago. In mid-September of this year, my 95-year-old father called me to say that he wanted to add a detour to Madison to a planned trip to Minnesota because Denny was in the hospital and in a nursing home, and it wasn't clear he would be able to go home. A call to my niece, Tony, confirmed that, in fact, he was in hospice with a prognosis of 2 to 8 weeks to live. Tony had just gotten permission from him to inform the family of the circumstances. She said to me, "Dad is such a private guy, he didn't want to cause everyone a fuss." It was obvious to me that waiting until the planned trip was not going to work, so my dad and I flew into Madison the weekend between the high holidays, as did most of the rest of the family. Almost everyone got to see him on the 5th of October, and he died in the early hours of that Sunday morning. I think he felt like he was done. I did not have what I would call a close relationship with Denny. His mother and I did not have a good relationship, and it made holidays and family occasions hard. My dad and he, however, were very close, and my dad was always included in the lives of Denny and his brother Doug and their kids and grandkids. Given that my poor relationship with my stepmother could have completely tanked my relationship with Denny and Doug, I've been very grateful to be included in their lives as well. It took letting go of judgment and setting aside resentments to accomplish that. My nieces and nephews are amazing people, and my life is so much richer for having them in it. I hate to think how close I came to missing out on knowing them, not to mention the rest of my extended stepfamily. Denny was the photographer for both of my kids' bat mitzvahs. Not something I asked him to do, something he just did as a matter of course. Denny, like most of my family, saw doing as love. Maybe this is how to make sense of our final conversation. I also had a stepsister, Debbie, who died young many years ago. I wrote a poem at that time that I'd like to share with you because I think it fits this moment as well. If I can get through this without falling apart. Funny how after you have left, I remember the question I meant to ask and go running out and down to call you back, only to find myself at the gate with the thing I was going to give you still in my hand, beckoning to someone out of sight. If I had thought that you would never come again, I would have run after you to catch and tell you, breathless, all the things that I was sure you knew anyways.
It is one of the great honors of this community to hear the stories, to recite the names, to call to each other these words of prayer that have held the Jewish community for thousands of years in mourning. And so we'll say the names of those who are on our community's Kaddish list, and have an opportunity for those here in the sanctuary to say the names of their loved ones who they are remembering out loud. If you're joining us digitally, please use the chat to share your loved ones' names.
In these recent days, we are remembering Dennis Drake. We are remembering Jan Amsterdam, beloved mother of Kat Amsterdam. And in this year of memory, we remember Eileen Kleinkoff, Kathy Nath, Pat Urich, and Sivan Ehrlich. And if there is a yahrzeit you are observing or someone who is feeling especially close to you tonight, please raise your hand.
For all these named, for those who have no one to say their names for them, we become one community of memory with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. They can be found on page 44. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be abiding blessings. As together we say, amen. You may be seated.
Just a few quick announcements, and then we'll do Kiddush and Motzi and head down to the to the Oneg room. We're in the sanctuary. Tonight is a meditation night following services, so I don't know who's leading it tonight. Marcy Kaplan is leading tonight. So about 10 minutes, go down to the Oneg room, get some snacks, and then if you are desiring some stillness and quiet and some guided meditation, please come back up here. We'll make a circle right around the candles here. And that will end at it's about a half an hour. Torah study tomorrow morning at 10:30, Torah on tap at 4 p.m. tomorrow. And then some good things going on Sunday as well. The continuation of an adult ed class that's taking place at the Ambrose School at 9:30 in the morning, How Judaism Became Monotheistic. We're hearing some rave reviews about that. And in the afternoon, a Jewish genealogy class at 2 p.m. And on Sunday, there has been an ongoing series. It's been, I think, 5 weeks now, that was brilliantly crafted by our meditation team, Mindfulness Basics during this election, run up to the election. I think it's been really helpful to people who have joined in. And if you'd like to come, they're doing their last session here in person. It's been online. It'll be in person right here in the sanctuary on Sunday afternoon at 4, and all are welcome to come to that. And Allie, do you want to come up and do Kiddush and Moshe? Are you still awake? You're staying awake a lot better these days now that middle school has arrived. Come on up. Want to grab the Kiddush cup? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. I think that is actually Manischewitz. Do you want to say? What do you feel? Yeah, it's not. It isn't so good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. In this fluey cold season, we are just trying to cut slices. You're welcome. We'll have this downstairs as well. Take a bite of that, though, just to complete the blessing. There we go. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. See you downstairs.
Full screen and Zoom and meeting.